All right, Browns faithful, if you're a true diehard like me, someone who eats, sleeps, and breathes every snap, every storyline, and every shred of offseason chaos, then you've found your home. Smash that subscribe button and tap the notification bell, because what we're building here isn't just another sports channel, it's a war room for real football minds. We're diving deep, film study, in the trenches analysis, the kind of gritty conversations that only true believers appreciate. And let me tell you, this Browns offseason, absolutely insane. If you blinked, you probably missed 5 plot twists. From the very start, it's been non-stop turbulence. We had the Myles Garrett trade buzz erupt out of nowhere, full-blown panic mode across the dog pound, then the contract extension roller coaster, which had half the fan base checking Twitter like it was the New York Stock Exchange. And don't even get me started on the quarterback shuffle, because in Cleveland, the carousel never stopped spinning. But here's what I want to zero in on today, something that's flown under the radar amid all the noise. While the spotlight's been glued to splashy headlines and big-name speculation, the Browns front office has quietly executed some of the savviest, most calculated moves of the entire NFL offseason. One of those moves? 2 words: Malik Collins. Now look, Collins isn't going to light up social media, he's not a jersey seller or a Twitter trending name, but I'm saying it loud and clear. This might be the most intelligent and impactful signing this front office has made in years. Let's break it down. The 49ers let him walk with a year still on his deal. Why? Cap pressure. They're juggling how to pay Brock Purdy and George Kittle, and Collins became collateral damage. But here's the key, his performance didn't drop off. This wasn't a decline issue. It was pure financial chess. So what did the Browns do? They pounced. 2 years, $20 million, 0 cents. That's not a filler deal. That's a surgical upgrade. You're not just replacing Dalvin Tomlinson. You're injecting a battle-tested veteran into a defensive line that already looks terrifying on paper. And the scheme fit? Impeccable. Collins flourishes in a one-gap upfield attacking system. And guess what Jim Schwartz loves to run? That exact scheme. I've watched the film. Here's what pops. Collins isn't a space eater. He's a disruptor. He penetrates. He creates chaos. Over the last 4 seasons, he's consistently ranked in the top quartile of all interior linemen in pass rush grades. In 2024, he was 7th in pass rush win rate among interior linemen. That's elite company, not serviceable game-wrecking. Now imagine this. Myles Garrett off the edge. Collins collapsing the middle. Mason Graham, our first-round phenom, wreaking havoc alongside them. That's a 3-headed monster capable of suffocating any offensive front. Now, I won't sugarcoat it. Collins has had real struggles against the run. His run defense grades the past 2 years have hovered in the low 40s. That's near the league's basement. And yeah, that's a concern. You don't want to get gashed on early downs and bank on pressure on third. But here's the upside. Environment matters, scheme matters, coaching matters. A storm is silently gathering behind the curtains, charged with unwavering resolve, hushed vows of redemption, and the high-stakes pressure of a legacy being meticulously forged rep by rep. In the looming shadows of grizzled titans and beneath the scorching glare of sky-high expectations, an unexpected figure is rising, not through flamboyant declarations, but with a magnetic presence that commands respect. As the noise intensifies and the pressure mounts, what unfolds next could rewrite the entire narrative of the season. I'm breaking it all down for you, but before we dive in, smash that like button and subscribe. If you're new to the channel, let's go. Aaron Rodgers, Pittsburgh Steelers, graveyard. 3 words you probably never imagined hearing in the same sentence, but when Myles Garrett speaks, the league listens, and when he flashes that grin and hints at planting a future Hall of Famer in the graveyard, Browns Nation, consider the fuse officially lit. This may just be the spark that ignites one of the most explosive storylines of the entire NFL season. We are bringing the fire straight out of Berea, where Cleveland's mandatory minicamp is underway. And let's be honest, the quarterback room is a battlefield. Veteran signal callers Joe Flacco and Kenny Pickett are locked in a fierce competition, each hungry to reclaim relevance, while 2 rookies, Dylan Gabrielle and Shedeur Sanders are clawing for their shot at the throne. And then there's Sanders, the fifth rounder who slipped further than expected in the draft, but is already turning heads in camp. Not through flashy throws or highlight plays, but with a mindset and maturity that's hard to ignore. During OTAs, he was buried at the bottom of the depth chart. Few reps, limited visibility. But what caught the eye of coaches, reporters, and teammates alike wasn't his arm, it was his approach. Speaking to the media after day one of minicamp, Sanders didn't sound like a rookie licking his wounds. He sounded like a man with vision. "My goal is to be the best teammate and stay as positive as possible," he said. "I know I've got time to develop, time to learn the nuances of defensive schemes, time to soak up wisdom from the vets. When it's my moment to shine, I'll be ready." This young man gets it. He's not just present, he's plugged in. Then came the quote that should be printed and pinned to every locker in the facility. "When you get in a game, nobody cares how many reps you got. Everybody cares about production." Let that resonate. That's the kind of mentality that earns you credibility in the locker room and possibly an opportunity when the pressure's highest. What's even more impressive is the quiet intensity he radiates. Yes, he's missed throws. Yes, the footwork still needs refinement. He's aware. He's grinding, but he's not panicking. He's not chasing headlines. He's preparing to own them. "I'm locked in on the details," Sanders explained. "And over time, the big moments will take care of themselves." Stack that up against the backdrop of a cutthroat quarterback competition, and Sanders' demeanor feels different. Not arrogant, but composed. Not inexperienced, but sharpening. Not hopeful, but strategic. Now let's pivot to another seismic headline: Nick Chubb. Yes, that Nick Chubb. The heart, the hammer, and the humility of the Browns offense for 7 legendary seasons. He's officially a Houston Texan after passing his physical and sealing the deal. While the fan base is still recovering from the emotional gut punch, one voice captured the sentiment of an entire city. Browns icon, Hanford Dixon. And trust me, we're only scratching the surface. I'll unpack every detail, but first, if you've bled brown and orange for 16 plus years, smash that like button. Shout out to the fans who've stayed loyal for over 30 years. Your passion is unmatched. With the deepest respect, drop a comment like, "Let's go Browns, together we are unstoppable." Let's kick things off with the name that's suddenly electrifying the entire dog pound, Shedeur Sanders. Sure, you know him from Colorado, but this kid is proving he's more than just a college standout. 5th rounder. That label is quickly looking like a misfire. Sanders arrived in Berea and made an indelible impression that few rookies ever do. Precision in the passing game, composure in the red zone, and an escalating rapport with his targets. All of it was on full display at OTAs. Now remember, we're talking jerseys and shorts, not full pads. He hasn't consistently faced a first-team defense, but the tools, the reads, the processing, the arm talent, it's all there. And while no one's penciling him in as the week 1 starter over Joe Flacco, let's be crystal clear. If Flacco doesn't take the opening snap, the only name that deserves to be in the QB2 conversation is Shedeur Sanders. But Sanders isn't the lone rookie turning heads. Quinshon Judkins is making the game look effortless, as in NFL ready from day one effortless. The way he's slicing through the defense, the burst he shows coming out of the backfield, it's textbook. Sports Illustrated nailed it when they labeled Judkins as a prototypical NFL running back. This isn't about potential, it's about proven readiness, strength, patience, explosiveness. He's got the complete package, and let's not forget the landscape in Cleveland's running back room. With uncertainty swirling and opportunities wide open, Judkins isn't just knocking on the door, he's about to bulldoze it down. He could be carrying the load for this offense far sooner than expected. Then there's Carson Swessinger, another young up-and-comer, stealthily emerging from the shadows. You don't often hear about rookie linebackers commanding the spotlight early, but Swessinger is the exception. His football IQ is off the charts. Jordan Hicks couldn't stop raving about his instincts, his play recognition, his ability to drop back into coverage, his relentless pursuit of the ball. This guy is already being whispered about as a potential defensive signal caller, a future green dot. If you're a Browns fan searching for the next defensive leader, you might want to keep your eyes on No. 53. And let's not forget Jerry Jeudy, who's not just cementing himself as a reliable wideout, but emerging as the guy in the receiver corps. The chemistry he's building with Joe Flacco, it's real. Locker room camaraderie, daily conversations, on-field synergy. It's all happening. Jeudy is proving he's ready to embrace the WR1 role with Elijah Moore out of the picture, and he's doing it with crisp footwork, sharp routes, and the veteran savvy that can transform this passing game into a legitimate threat, assuming the quarterback play holds up. But for every riser, someone inevitably slides. And the biggest eyebrow raiser? Deontay Harte, a complete no-show at voluntary OTAs. Now, yes, it's technically voluntary, but when you're a journeyman who's bounced from the Steelers to the Texans to the Ravens and now the Browns, you can't afford to miss reps, especially not with a new team, a new coaching staff, and a new quarterback room. This was his chance to stake a claim, and instead he's left fans with more questions than answers. Let's be honest, if it doesn't work in Cleveland, where does it work? And then there's the elephant in the room, Deshaun Watson. Harsh? Maybe. But real? Absolutely. Watson was absent from OTAs, and the vibe surrounding his status feels like a slow fade to a two rookie quarterbacks have been drafted. Flacco was brought in, Kenny Pickett was traded for, the writing's on the wall, and it's in bold font. When you combine his injury history, off-field controversies, and declining performance, the road back to being the guy looks like a tightrope walk. Watson at QB5? That's not just a slide, that's a free fall. And speaking of Kenny Pickett, what exactly is his role in all of this? Is he an insurance policy? Trade bait? Maybe both. He's stuck in a limbo between starter and backup, but the arrow is definitely pointing down. He's QB2 right now, but with Sanders and Gabriel flashing promise, and Flacco locked in as QB1, Pickett might just be the odd man out. His 2024 tape? Mediocre at best. 1 touchdown, 1 interception, 5 appearances. That doesn't exactly scream franchise quarterback. It whispers backup. And perhaps that's the hidden opportunity here. If Pickett fails to climb the depth chart, maybe he finds new value elsewhere on the trade block. The Browns could potentially reclaim a draft pick, maybe a 5th or 6th rounder. At this stage, that might be the most strategic outcome for both parties. But let's pump the brakes for a second, because there's so much more to unpack. You've just gotten the first wave of seismic shakeups from OTAs, the names you need to monitor, the futures that might already be sealed. But we're only halfway through. The second half is coming, and it's going to plunge even deeper into what all of this means for the 2025 season and how this roster might actually crystallize by week 1. Because when you look closely, these OTAs didn't just offer a sneak peek at who's leading. They gave us clarity on what's likely headed our way. Browns fans, make no mistake, this is a team at a pivotal crossroads. Every position group is being redefined, and the coaching staff isn't pulling any punches. They're handing real reps to the rookies, they're challenging the veterans, and in some cases, they're making it crystal clear the pecking order is no longer built on reputation, it's strictly performance or bust. Let's revisit Shedeur Sanders for a moment, because his story is just getting started. If you're the Cleveland Browns and your once prized first-round franchise quarterback is on the brink of irrelevance, then the 5th rounder who's stacking impressive days in OTAs suddenly becomes more than just a developmental project. This isn't merely about how Sanders looked in shorts and shells. This is about how quickly he's processing reads, how decisively he's delivering the ball. The coaching staff isn't oblivious. They see the spark. They see the future. And let's be real. If Sanders carries this momentum into minicamp and preseason, the notion of him leapfrogging Kenny Pickett on the depth chart isn't some hot take. It's inevitable. And pivot back to that running back room. Speaking directly to Chubb on his show, Dixon said with heartfelt sincerity, please, big dog, if you suit up against us, don't hurt us. That's not just admiration, that's reverence, that's legacy, and that one quiet moment says everything about what Nick Chubb meant to this franchise. and how devastating it was to part ways with him after that gruesome knee injury in 2023. Unless destiny or a playoff collision intervenes, we won't see a Browns-Texans showdown until 2026. But let's be real, that countdown has already begun. Meanwhile, a different saga is unfolding right here in the AFC North. The Steelers pulled off one of the boldest gambits of the offseason by acquiring 41-year-old Aaron Rodgers. And who was the first to respond? You already know, Myles Garrett. Perfect chance to put him in the graveyard, Garrett said, flashing that iconic smirk. Now, if you're new around here, you might not know, Garrett has a Halloween tradition. Each year, his front lawn transforms into a makeshift graveyard filled with tombstones etched with the names of quarterbacks he's sacked. It's theatrical, it's vicious, and it's deeply personal. To date, Garrett has sacked 31 different quarterbacks. He's notched 12-plus sacks in each of the last 5 consecutive seasons. He's racked up 102.5 sacks before the age of 30. He's not just a pass rusher. He's a one-man horror film. And now, he's already envisioning Rodgers as the newest addition to that eerie Halloween display. And why not? Rodgers was tied for the 7th most sacks taken in the league last season. The Steelers' offensive line? Still riddled with uncertainty. With Cleveland set to face Pittsburgh twice this season, October 12th and December 28th, Garrett will have multiple chances to back up his ominous prediction. This isn't just a rivalry, this is modern-day mythology in the making. A veteran quarterback fighting to extend his legacy, a defensive titan at the peak of his power, and a rookie QB, silent but calculated, patiently crafting his moment. Teammates respect that. And when you're trying to earn a role in an already stacked linebacker core, that's the kind of intangible that separates the average from the exceptional. Schlesinger has it. And it's the kind of presence that could enable the Browns to get more creative with their defensive packages. More speed, more coverage flexibility, more unpredictability to confound opposing. And let's talk about Jerry Jeudy. The headlines might focus on his potential breakout, but let's dig deeper. This is about chemistry. He's connecting with Flacco, sure, but he's also becoming the heartbeat of that wide receiver room. There's no more splitting the WR1 spotlight with Elijah Moore. This is Judy's stage now. The connection with Flacco? It's about trust, about seamless communication. Jeudy is poised to finally fulfill the promise of that first-round pick Denver invested in him, and Cleveland desperately needs him to, because with a potentially shifting quarterback hierarchy, a reliable WR1 who can consistently create separation and move the chains is invaluable. But let's not sugarcoat the dark cloud Deshaun Watson. This isn't just bad optics. This is the slow motion unraveling of a career that was once one of the NFL's most electrifying. From legal issues to injuries, and now to complete silence at OTAs, it's a staggering fall. And if fans are still clinging to hope, the writing on the wall is getting harder and harder to ignore. The Browns didn't draft 2 quarterbacks and sign Joe Flacco because they believed in Watson's triumphant return. They did it because they're bracing for life without him, plain and simple. His contract might keep him on the payroll, but his name isn't in the long-term blueprint. He's QB5. He's done. That's the cold, hard truth. And Kenny Pickett? His outlook is hardly any rosier. He's trapped between a surging wave of young talent and a seasoned vet who already commands the system. The Browns know it, so don't be shocked if they explore a trade before the season opener. So now we ask you, Browns fans, what do you make of Shedeur Sanders' mindset? Is he the future field general Cleveland's been waiting for? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. As Shedeur Sanders quietly builds his story from the ground up, Myles Garrett is busy fortifying his legacy in bold ink. And Browns Nation, this goes beyond sacks or stat sheets. This is about culture. A culture rooted in accountability, focus, and just the right dose of swag. That's what Garrett delivers every single time he straps on the helmet, and you better believe his sights are set on Rodgers. Now let's rewind to that smirk in the graveyard remark. That wasn't just seasonal banter, it was a declaration, a shot across the bow. Rodgers may carry a resume worthy of Canton, but Garrett is sharpening his chisel to carve deeper into NFL. And while it may all seem like fun and theatrics, make no mistake, this Cleveland-Pittsburgh feud just turned deeply personal. Garrett knows Rodgers inside and out, the poise, the experience, the arm strength, but he also knows Rodgers was sacked 40 times behind the Jets' line last season. That wasn't bad luck. That was vulnerability. And for this Browns defense, already one of the league's most terrifying units, that's blood in the water. See you next video.